This episode of Dorking Out is brought to you by The Daily Planet, Metropolis's oldest and most respected newspaper, with 7 editions a week, plus the famous Daily Planet Sunday edition. Get your news straight from the source.
And the letter C, because you can't spell Cyber Monday without C. We've got a great deal on a podcast for you for Cyber Monday. Psst, it's our podcast, and it's totally free. You're welcome.
Houston, flight is go.
Mila, let's go. SPM.
From Assignment X, Amalgamated Storytelling, and thesoniashow.com, it's Dorking Out with Sonia Mansfield and Christopher Allen Smith.
Welcome to episode 23 of Dorking Out, a podcast for people who like to dork out about stories and the stories and culture that they love. That means movies and TV, books and podcasts, and pretty much everywhere else you find stories that interest you. This is the Allied with Moana Edition. With me today is my co-host, professional writer, and author of the forthcoming Sonia Show, Sonia Mansfield.
Hey there.
Hello.
With me today is my co-host, Emmy Award-winning filmmaker and nerd author, Christopher Allen Smith. In this week's episode, we review Disney's 56th animated movie. 56th animated movie, Moana, with David Tracy, the communications director of the Chaos Group, the co-host of Old Movies, New Beer, and my better half. And we have another guest, Juan Uriarte. Nope. Uriarte. See, I knew I was going to ruin it. Will you say it for me again?
Uriarte.
Uriarte.
Uriarte. With a little...
Uriarte, host of the Instant Ramen podcast. Then David and Juan stick around to talk about the state of Disney animation. Do they still make them like they used to? We talk about that. And then, in our third segment, we review the new World War II spy drama Allied, starring Brad Pitt and Marion Cotillard. No, I messed that up too.
Good Lord. My God.
Can't pronounce names.
You know what? I'm leaving all these in. Juan, I'm sorry.
All of that, plus our favorite headlines of the week, including the ratings decline of The Walking Dead. We've got a lot to talk about, and I have a lot of names to ruin. So let's get started.
Juan Uriarte, I apologize.
This segment of Dorking Out is brought to you by Rejected. You had a really great first date. He said he would text you. Why hasn't he texted you? It's been 2 days. Maybe he's just busy. He's probably just busy with work, right? You need Rejected.
That brings us to topic 1, Moana. This Thanksgiving weekend saw the arrival of something to be thankful for, in my opinion, and that's a new film from Disney Feature Animation. That film is Moana, and it stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and I'm going to just say it right now. I'm going to murder this. Alui Carvalho.
That was disgusting.
It was disgusting.
That made me throw up a little bit in my mouth.
And it was probably not accurate. But
I
will be damned if I'm going to take pronunciation
Mount Wanahakaluki
heat from one Sonia Mansfield. Anyway, back to the introduction. So we're going to review this movie with a new friend of the podcast. Joining us today is a fan of animation, mainly anime, who has his own podcast, Instant Ramen. He talks about anime, he talks about animation, he talks about pop culture. It is not for younger audiences, but is a great show to dork out about anime. That is when...
What was that?
You can't even get his name right.
An apology.
You're making fun of me?
That is Juan Uriarte. He is joining us because he is somebody that I respect his pop culture opinions, and it's always nice to have new people on the show. Say hi, Juan.
Hey, what's up? That's really sweet of you. You said we're friends, and I don't think you ever said that before.
Oh.
David and I are definitely friends. Sonia and I are friends. Chris, you and I just thought we're, like business acquaintances. But yeah, friends is cool. I like that.
That's right.
I'm jealous, Juan. I've known Smith for like 30 years. He's never called me his friend.
It's okay. It's not that great. Don't worry about it.
There's a reason for that. Also joining us is the person name-checked by Juan, David Tracy, who works for the Chaos Group. They are makers of chaos on an industrial scale and also world-class special effects software, V-Ray. Their software is used in such titles as The Walking Dead, more on that later, Game of Thrones, surprisingly more on that later, Captain America, Civil War, Deadpool, The Walk, Hugo, and of course, as before, always underlined, SpongeBob SquarePants the movie.
The movie. I should also say Doctor Strange, if I want to mention a real
Oh,
current
yeah.
Yeah, you should also say Doctor Strange, and he is also the co-host with one Sonia Ann Mansfield. Old Movies, New Beer. So
Yes.
that's something.
It's in
to listen to.
absentia at the moment, but it's coming back.
It's
It is
coming
coming
back. It's
back.
coming back like a fiend. So, with all of that out of the way,
That's a huge long intro for
it
me.
is a huge long intro.
Way longer than mine. That was messed up. That's not cool.
Yeah.
But
David, that's a
Friends
huge
anymore.
intro.
that's
Thank
right.
you.
Looks like you're picking favorites, Chris.
Maybe. Maybe you should think about that. So, Moana. What do we think about it? Juan, you seem to
Oh,
be
you know
crying in the corner. Why don't you tell us what you think about
I
Moana?
wanted to throw that to David because I feel like he's a little smarter than I am. So if he does what I think he's going to do and destroy it, I'm just go, yeah, okay, me too. Also, ditto. Well, wait, hold on, David, though, real quick. Your engine or your company is responsible for SpongeBob SquarePants the movie?
Some of the rendering in it, yes.
You know what, man? Thank you, okay? I love SpongeBob SquarePants the movie. Say what
Yeah.
you want. Underline it twice, Chris, okay?
Will do.
Make sure. No. No, I'll go first if you want me to. If you really want me to.
You know
Go
what?
for
Yeah.
it.
Go for it.
Yeah, okay. So, I don't know about you guys' movie experience, but did you guys have to sit in the second row all the way at the front?
I did
No,
not.
we didn't.
No, okay. Well, no. Well, that's why I picked my choice seats. That's where I watch all my big flicks. So that was horrible. That big neck pain. Like Chris was saying, I'm a huge fan of all animation, mostly like cartoons, I guess. You know, like grew up watching like Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network. But Disney was obviously a big part of my childhood, so I watched all the Disney classics growing up. As I got older, I actually watched more anime and have a podcast about it. I don't know if you mentioned it.
Instant Ramen. It's great.
Yeah, Instant Ramen is pretty good. Anyways, yeah. So when you invited me to do Moana, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And you know what? I realized I haven't seen a Disney movie in forever. Like like a newer Disney movie. And sitting down, I thought I knew what I was going to get into, and for the most part, I did. You know, Disney always delivers with the way it looks, and Moana was gorgeous. I was blown away at how beautiful it was. Something that like even the little details, like when you look at the mini tattoo of Maui, you could see like the skin like on Maui. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Yeah.
But it was just beautiful, you know. And then they started singing, and then I realized, you know what? I'm not a kid anymore. And the songs, I don't know if they weren't all that great. I don't feel like I liked Maui's song. I was pleasantly surprised by how well The Rock could sing, because I am a person who isn't the hugest fan as The Rock as an actor, and we talked about this briefly before he made me stop talking about it because then you wanted to record all we had to say. But yeah, like I was saying like earlier, The Rock.
I think it's downright un-American that you
No.
don't like The Rock.
It's not that I don't like The Rock. I'm sure he's a great guy, and he's an amazing wrestler. Okay, like I definitely watched him when I was younger. The problem is that he has two people. He's either big buff dude that kicks butt and no one can destroy him, or he's big buff dude who's a lovable idiot. Those are his two characters, and he's really good at both of them. And he has no range. And he's tried to do other things. He did this one called. Was it called Snitch or something like that, where he was driving this truck to save his son, and he was The Rock, and he might have had a goatee, and it was horrible. Okay,
He had a goatee. That's a totally different character. He
No,
had a
that's-
goatee.
that's still The Rock. I mean, maybe I don't know. 'Cause he's slowly made his change. Now he's no longer The Rock. Now he's Dwayne Johnson. You know. Anyways, I was surprised at how well he sang. I like that song. There's a guy from the Flight of the Conchords who did this song with the crab.
Yeah, that's Jermaine Clement.
Jermaine. His song was really good. But Moana's song, like the titular, song that was kept being played over and over, by the third time around, I was over it. Like I really didn't want to hear it, and I think it was
funny.
great.
I liked it a lot, actually.
I mean, it wasn't bad. I just feel like when I think of classic Disney songs, like that one doesn't make the top 10 list, not even close to the top 20. I feel like, and I can see the kids around me while they're watching the movie, they enjoyed it and they loved it, and that's perfect because that's for them. That movie's made for little kids or whatever, and the singing's for them also. I was just worried that I was gonna get another Frozen, let it go or whatever, or Let It Snow. What is it? Do you know what it is?
Let It Go, which is a classic song. You have to accept it. It is bored its way through the culture as all classic Disney songs do.
I was worried that we're gonna get that again. I have to hear it on the radio while I'm driving, and I might, because at the end of the credits of Moana, there's you can hear like the radio version of it. I don't know if you guys say that.
Yeah, the like pop version.
For sure, that's gonna
like a Rihanna Light.
Yeah,
type singer.
The one that's gonna be on the radio for the next 8 months, 10 months. So yeah, and I'm gonna admit something to you guys. I fell asleep during Moana. I did.
No kidding.
I snoozed it. I totally did. It was for like a few minutes, but it just I don't know what it was. The story, I feel like, for me, didn't captivate me enough. I was like, okay, cool, you got Maui. Okay, cool, you got the hook. All right, you tried to beat the guy, you couldn't. All right, cool. Oh, you found your grandma's back. Cool. All right, now you're gonna do it. Okay, and she did it. And I feel like the small nap I took in between, I didn't lose anything. Like I feel like a dad. I feel like an old person who would have brought their kid there and watched it and like been like, cool, you watched the movie. This movie's for you, and let me just sit here and just sleep. So that's how I felt about Moana. I mean, I liked it. It was good. It just wasn't like amazing in my opinion.
I really like the movie, but it does have that kind of Disney story. You know, it's like a journey, a cute animal sidekick, musical
cute animal sidekick,
villain, and they learn an important lesson.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so it's got that formula for sure. But I still really like the movie. But I don't want to. I want to let David go first because he's
David. You let him have it, David. Yeah. Tell me how you felt about Moana for the both of us.
I feel bad. I would just
David's
say
on my team.
Okay, so the movie is, to me, it was good. I enjoyed it, but it's not great at all. I feel like the Disney formula was showing, and I appreciate that they tried to set it, and they did set it in this other culture and everything like that. But the story it's every Disney story for the most part. I mean, it's very easy. Like, one person is sad and then one little pep talk and they've turned it around and now they're going to do it. And then they go on this huge boat adventure, but the huge boat adventure is really just to visit one crab and that's it. And then they go to the finale.
Yeah, they should have fought more things.
No, you're forgetting the little coconut men. That scene was ripped straight out of Mad Max. How many times do you see Mad Max influence on a Disney movie? Sorry, keep going.
No. Actually, the coconut men represent something else to me, I feel, and that's kind of makes this movie even look more shallow to me in a way, and that is so much of this movie is an homage to Princess Mononoke, I think.
Oh,
and you have the little tree creatures or those coconut people. You have the whole idea of the land is green and verdant, and then it's being turned to, ruin and everything like that. But in this, it's a mythology story, whereas Mononoke is much deeper. And then in the end, here they try to make it look green and beautiful, and it does look good, but it still doesn't compare to Mononoke to me. And the god woman of life, she looks like a green...
The green giant.
The jolly green giant.
That's on the corn can. Yeah, she was scary looking.
She just looked like a big green Smurfy thing that wants me to eat my greens.
I think they messed up with the eyes. They gave her her eyes gave her little veins and they were green. I just think they should have made them. I don't know, man. That was terrifying in my opinion.
But technically, I agree. Like, the lighting was really nice. The water effects, the water was beautiful in it. I like how and I mentioned this earlier. I hope I'm not stealing your joke, but no. I like how they cast the water from the abyss as a character in this movie. But I think technically it was very beautiful.
It's good to see it getting work again.
It is. It's been years. And I think the ocean effects and the underwater effects were really, really beautiful. But I feel like at the end of the day, it's just was a little shallow to me. And I can't help but feel like, God, if you want to see a movie about, it makes me want to see Princess Mononoke again, actually.
Wow. And I'm not, you know what? I actually didn't notice that, but you and I, David, kindred spirits right here, because you're bringing up
both free spirits.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, now more you say it, I see more parallels to the Princess Mononoke. And you know what? I'm not the hugest fan of Princess Mononoke. I think there's better Studio Ghibli films out there. But I know people who that's their favorite Studio Ghibli, and it is beautiful. It's gorgeous. And I guess if you put it up next to Moana, even with its nice modern day effects. You're right. I think Mononoke takes the cake as being more beautiful.
Well,
No kidding.
I like this movie a lot more than you guys.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. Well, I mean, you're wrong. You're allowed to be wrong. You know, okay.
I enjoyed sitting through the theater, and I'm sure I'm going to see it a million more times with our kid.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be a forgettable thing after.
I do think it looks very beautiful. I actually like the classic kind of I'm wishing song that she does, the How Far Will I Go? I think it's really catchy, actually. I don't know if it's Let It Go catchy, but it's pretty catchy. I like that the story, Moana's story, isn't about finding a boy or true love. I think that's really cool. I like that it's a story that isn't about white people.
Oh, whoa! What's wrong with white people? They're the best.
How many episodes do you think we can go on this show before Sonia says the word white people? Let's see.
Sonia, that's not cool.
I am one of those white people. I'm just saying a lot of Disney movies are about white people. I'm happy to see one that isn't.
I know, Chris. I don't feel comfortable being in this conversation anymore.
I'm sorry, Juan. I didn't know it would be like this when I invited you on.
Like Princess and the Frog, they're all about white people.
Mulan.
And Mulan, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. You're right.
What about Aladdin?
Pocahontas.
Yeah, that's
Pocahontas.
Yeah, Aladdin.
Yeah, no. You're right, Sonia. Just let her go.
They're
guys.
all about white people. No,
Most
you're right.
of them are about white people.
And animal husbandry.
What about the Rescuers and the Rescuers Down Under?
That's true.
Weren't they white rats?
Yeah, but the mice, they're white
right.
people. Come on.
Come on. Weren't they like British or something?
Why?
Anyway.
Because we're rats? All right.
Oh, way to go. Way to suck the fun out, you fun sucker.
That's
Chris.
me. I'm the fun police.
I think he was
really
referring
did.
to me.
I liked the movie though.
I did really like the movie. I think it was really good. I enjoyed her story. Like I said, I like that it wasn't about finding a boy or finding true love. Like even Frozen, that was kind of about sisters. It was a little boy crazy. I like that this one isn't about that. And I like the songs. And I like Jermaine Clement as the
crab.
Yeah, as the crab.
He could do every song in every Disney movie.
He really could.
The Flight of the Conchords could just do a Disney movie.
I would pay to see that movie.
I would too.
Weren't they
Smith,
almost?
what did you think?
I thought this movie was fantastic.
Ooh.
I love this movie, but I think the movie that it reminded me the most of was Aladdin,
That's interesting.
which was one of the Renaissance Disney movies that was very conscious about being a Disney movie. And because of that, it was able to make jokes about it. It was able to play on this total, almost like Bugs Bunny, Warner Brothers meta level as the movie was going on. You know,
it's very Aladdin's very Warner Brothers.
Right, exactly. And this one, there was even the moment where, The Rock is given Moana guff about being the princess, and she's, oh, I'm not the princess. Yeah, you even got you have the sidekick animal, you got the songs, you got it all, you got the whole package, which is very much funnier the way it was delivered in the movie. But
busting a gut. That was great, Chris. Do it again.
And he tweeted too. He tweeted.
That's right. He tweeted. It was. I thought it was. What was that?
The tweeting joke. That's a funny one. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun. I'll agree. It was not. The music was not spectacular in a. Because I think when it came out of Beauty and the Beast, when it came out of Aladdin, there were songs where it's like I was humming them, I was thinking about them. This one, I saw this almost a week ago, the Tuesday night before it opened wide, and I'll admit I've forgotten every single one of those songs. But I just really thought it was a lot of fun. It was really playful. It was beautiful, and I did think that it blended enough of kind of the Polynesian culture and the Polynesian setting with the classic Disney things that I thought I just really liked it. And I think we might, I'll say this. I think part of the Disney formula might be Walt Disney, in a weird way, Walt Disney telling his own story, because a lot of them where he lives in a small he lived in a small town where people were telling him these crazy things you want to do are no good. Stop it, stop it, stop it. And then he's got to go on this long journey to Los Angeles and then create Disneyland or whatever. And her journey, a lot of these movies start out with some character wanting something, dreaming about something different, wanting to be unique. The entire culture around them saying no, no, no. And then they have to go off and do it. And, that is kind of a hackneyed Hollywood story. It is kind of a hackneyed Disney story. But I think it's like one of those eternal, archetype story things where if it's done right, if it's done gracefully, if it's done with talent, it's still affecting and it's still fun and it's still spectacular every time. I really like this movie. But it could just be me that I am a
Big old softy,
a corporate Disney shill sellout. But you know what? If I am, I am. I'm going to do it. I love Disney, despite all their evil.
Too. And we took our 5-year-old, and I actually couldn't tell really if he was enjoying it or not. Like he was kind of shifting around in his seat, and I thought maybe he was bored. And then we got home and he asked for the green heart, meaning the stone,
Right.
He wanted one.
Yeah, he wanted one. And I think the movie has stuck with him. We just saw it this morning, but he was asking about it. And I have to say, he doesn't always do that.
Interesting.
I enjoyed it. It was a good watch, and I loved the chicken. Thought the chicken was great. You could have a movie just about the chicken.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie. I laughed pretty much every time the chicken was on scene.
I did too. I loved that. That chicken was probably my favorite part of the movie.
The pig was not even needed.
You know what's... Oh,
what?
Well, I noticed what was funny is the pig, they play it up a lot in the posters and everything. The pig is not in 80% of the movie.
And it never grows up. Like the pig's a little piglet.
Oh, maybe it's a magic pig.
It's a magic piglet. The other thing I was thinking when we walked out of the movie was that they didn't even have to make her the daughter of the ruler or anything like that.
The chief's daughter.
Yeah, she didn't even have to be a princess. She just could have been a girl in the village. I know they had to do it because it has to be a Disney princess thing.
Sells better that way.
Sells better that way, but I almost feel maybe it would have even been better if it's just like a normal, anyone can do this and save their community and save their island. They don't have to be in a, part of the Power family or anything like that.
I agree with you.
Yeah. No, I don't agree with that. No, I think you have to be the chosen one. That's the only way things work.
That's right.
What was I just going to say?
Sorry, if you're not the chosen one, don't bother. Don't try.
I can't save the world. I'm not the chosen one. Okay, guys? I really wish I could. I'm not. You know what? Moana, apparently, it means ocean. Her name means ocean, which is a horrible name to give your daughter if you don't want her to go to the ocean.
That's right.
True.
Right? Come on now. That was weird.
Land shark.
Yeah.
Shark.
Homebody. Come here, homebody.
It's just weird that they were so adamant about her not going past the reef. I was like, you guys are an island. There's water around you. You should go on the water. Which was, I don't know. You know what? I like this. I like the movie, but I don't think it was amazing. And you know what? I don't regret watching it. I do regret sitting in the front. That was horrible. But
That's right.
But I was like, well, I promised Chris I'd be on this podcast. I guess I have to watch this and suffer this horrible neck pain,
I appreciate it. And
that is a sacrifice.
I would have given you no end of grief if you had not done it.
You're a good friend, Juan.
You're a good friend.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I hear that, Chris? We're friends.
That's right. So, okay. So, everybody, before I get any more shots from all sides, Juan, 1 out of 10. On a 1 out of 10 scale, what would you give Moana?
Oh, man. Okay. 1's bad, right?
Correct.
Okay. What's lower than a 1? No, you know what? 1 out of 10, that's hard. Because 5 would be 50%, and technically that's an F. I don't think I don't know, maybe a 7. Let's go with the 7, because I'm a sucker.
Cool.
But I don't think it was, you know what? It's a low 7. It's almost a 6.
Like a 6.5? You can give it a 6.5. We deal in half.
Deal in half portions here? Yeah. Okay, it's a 6.9 to 7.1. It's around there.
All right, cool. David, what would you give this movie out of 10?
6.5.
Whoa,
Interesting. Wow, lower than one. Okay.
Sheesh.
No
Have a
kidding.
heart, bud.
Have a heart.
I know. I'm pretty,
Sonia.
and it's funny because it's not like I didn't enjoy it. I just
It's just
on the scale, it's still a B.
it's not a
I
10.
I think this movie's a solid 8.
I think this movie's a solid 8 too.
Oh, you guys are
We
cute.
always agree too much.
That's right. That is definitely a problem. But actually, I'm going to tease something in a week. Next week, we're going to talk about the Gilmore Girls, and I'm telling you right now, kids, we are not going to agree on that
I don't
show.
think we're going to agree on that.
Yeah.
So one thought, Smith. Now that we've seen Moana,
Yep.
we can start, and it's the end of the year. One thing to start thinking about is what will be the front runners for nominations for best animated feature, and of course this will be one. Of course, Finding Dory will be one. Kubo and the Two Strings will be one.
Your Name is an anime that's supposed to be up there for done by Makoto Shinkai, who is, I don't know, he's kind of like the new Miyazaki. If you watch my podcast, you'd get that joke, but I guess if you don't get it. But check it out. There's all the old episodes. Your Name's supposed to be up there too. I haven't seen it yet. It's supposed to be out here in January. But honestly, for my money, I'd say Kubo and the Two Strings.
Me too.
I got to see it. I'm
You
sorry,
got
Juan.
to see it. It is such a beautiful movie.
I will. Juan has told me to see it on several occasions. I was dumb enough not to see it in the theater, mainly because we were not going to be talking about it on the podcast.
David bought it, and we've been watching it here a few times with our son, and it's such a beautiful movie.
It's such a different movie too. I feel like that's a story that's not really told. You know, it has a weird formula to it. It's a great story, Chris. You're messing up. Your life's all wrong, Chris. Go watch Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yeah, priorities, Smith. Come on.
You are not incorrect in any of that. So, on this segment, ending this segment on Moana, we're here to tell you, go watch Kubo and the Two Strings. This segment of the Dorking Out Show is brought to you by indifference. Maybe? I guess? I don't know. That brings us to a wider topic, now that we're done talking about Moana specifically, to topic 2, the state of Disney animation and what Disney means to culture. You guys better be ready with your A game. So, where I'm coming from with all this and why I wanted to put this on the docket is we all know different people like different movies. It's one of the best. That's right. It's one of the best aspects of culture, the way that our own reactions reveal who we are and reveal each of us to one another by what we like, what we don't like, what we spark to, what we don't spark to. That being said, as someone who has loved movies all my life, studied them, wrote scripts, directed, etc., 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 there are a few things in movies that if you don't like them, I'm going to tell you right now, I won't believe that you're a movie fan or that you like movies at all. One of those tripwires for me is Disney animated features. They highlight the best aspects of what movies do. They transport us, they delight us, they can inspire us, and they can show us things that we have never seen in our lives and we're never going to see in our normal everyday lives. So in honor of Moana, we are going to have a conversation and talk about Disney animation, specifically Disney feature animation and the prestige movies that they've been putting out since Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, way back when, started it all. So we come to you here as hackneyed corporate sellouts who love everything about Disney. David, I'm going to throw this to you. When you think of Disney animation, what comes to mind for you?
Oh, yeah, that's a good, easy question. To me, Disney animation is sort of the, they're the ones that have created an entire genre of film that now gets nominated for an Academy Award every year. It's filmmaking for people who like to draw. It's filmmaking for people that stare at computer screens all day and they want to try and tell a story, but they themselves can't act, or they themselves don't have the means to make a movie themselves. So it's to me they represent something for us, the drawers, the drawing people. And so it's another form of expression that is different and is able to take you to a place and was the first ones to really take you to a place where you could escape the physical world and bend the rules of gravity and bend the rules of everything around you to tell a story that could not be told in any other way before.
They really did start it all with Snow White.
I mean, there've been other animations and stuff.
Right, but that was the first like feature-length animated movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Nah, in America.
Yeah.
That's right, in America.
But technically not the first.
So it was the first feature animated movie, right, David?
Yeah. So that was the one that started the revolution in it.
Right.
I mean, that was the one that really sold the idea that you could actually tell a story, do an entire movie.
Right.
With this technology.
What?
So yeah.
Yeah.
That wasn't a good answer, was it?
No, that was actually
answer.
really good. That was actually
Don't lie to
great.
him. It was horrible.
No, it wasn't. So now, as reward for taking pot shots at our poor David here, Juan, what do you, when you think about Disney animation, what comes to mind for you? As somebody who grew up on Nickelodeon and anime, what does Disney mean to you? Disney feature animation.
We'll see. Well, I also grew up on not just, I grew up on those features. So I grew up on Aladdin and Hercules and stuff like that. So they obviously have like a soft spot in my heart for me, which is weird because I sometimes forget that I have a heart. But all in all, I mean, I don't know. It did inspire me to see, these stories that couldn't be told, like David was saying, with actors. I could never see. I guess I could see people pretend to be Mufasa and stuff, but it's not the same, the genie in Aladdin, seeing that, really inspired me. And I hope to one day get into animation in any shape or form, whether that be commercials or like a feature film or something. But yeah, it does give me like the hope and the sense of idea that like, yeah, just because I'm not as handsome as those actors out there, I can tell a story through drawings and stuff. And I mean, I like Disney. I really do. Is it like my bread and butter? Absolutely not. Like I think I grew up more on Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, and then recently grew up liking anime more. I feel like anime does a great job of telling deeper stories with more serious tones than a Disney film does. I mean, you can find them in Disney films, but in anime, they're right there for you. They're not hidden from you. It's just like, I don't know. I guess you could put up the best Ghibli film and the best Disney film and have them duke it out. And you could actually have an argument for a good long time as to which one's better. And I think at the end of the day, Ghibli would win. But people, think Studio Ghibli is the Disney of Japan. And, it is, absolutely. It's been marketed that way towards, it's the powerhouse. So Disney has a spot in my heart, for sure. But I don't think it's the end all be all for animation. What would you say is your favorite Disney movie? Oh, man, I was actually looking at this list to try to figure out what my favorite one was. And you know what? I'd like to say that I don't think I can pick a favorite, but I think growing up, I watched Hercules a lot. And it was definitely the song, the style was different. Hercules wasn't drawn, I guess, like the way a Disney princess film was drawn. Hercules had these big, stupid feet, these big hands, He had
very
that
stylized, yeah.
Yeah, had that weird swirl in his chin. And it taught me as a child that, like not everything has to look a certain way for it to be considered like, good or beautiful and stuff like that. And later on, I realized that, some of the best things out there don't look conventionally the way they should. It has a style and they go for it and they don't give up. So I think Hercules is a good one. Mulan's great too. I feel like that's a great story. We were talking about Moana earlier, and it's all about this girl power. It's really fun, great songs, great style. But yeah, I don't know. There's also some pretty bad ones up here. I'm looking. Dinosaurs? That's Disney? That was horrible. Come on.
I forgot about that.
God.
Right.
Right? I was like, oh, Tarzan, Fantasia, dinosaurs. Wow, what a dark time.
I think dinosaurs.
Aristocats was not very good either.
Ooh, Emperor's New Groove. That's something that's stylized. I feel like that was pretty good.
Oh, that's one of David's favorites.
I think that's kind of a sleeper. I think that's kind of an underappreciated film is Emperor's New Groove.
I appreciate it, David. I have met
that one's also very Warner Brothers-esque.
Oh, absolutely. Wreck-It Ralph was really good too. I feel like that was like, I feel like as I was older, as I'm pretty much like I was an adult by then, and Wreck-It Ralph came out of nowhere, and I feel like that was in production hell forever, and that blew my mind. That was That was awesome.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
a really good movie too.
yeah, and then right after that, Frozen, and then trains just fell off and horrible. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Well, let me ask you this: did we can we agree kind of on the eras? Which is there was the golden era that started with Snow White, and pretty much kind of ended at, I would say, The Jungle Book in the 60s, and then through the 70s and 80s. Unfortunately, the time that I was growing up, it was kind of a pretty dark time. It was like
Right? It was like what, Fox and the Hound?
yeah,
I think it ended at
Rescuers.
Robin.
Ben would have
I
been
feel like that golden age ended at
Yeah,
Robin.
the Rescuers. That was good.
Okay, yeah.
Rescuers were good.
Yeah, Robin Hood. No, so that would be 73. Then there was the Rescuers, Fox and the Hound, Black Cauldron, The Great Mouse Detective, Oliver and Company, which are just like, I mean, they're fine or whatever.
Yeah, they're
Oliver
alright.
and Company laid the groundwork for Little Mermaid, though.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. Which was a year after Oliver and Company, Little Mermaid comes out, the rocket takes off again, and then when would you say that the renaissance of Disney, that started with the Little Mermaid and Lion King? When would you say that ended?
Before dinosaurs.
For me, it was beginning to lose steam after The Lion King.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
It was the beginning of like diminishing returns a little bit. They had those 4 movies in a row that were
Right,
just
because it was like, what?
so solid.
Yeah, like Pocahontas.
Not that the other movies going were bad, but I feel like those 4, when you think about Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast,
Right.
Aladdin, Lion
Right.
King, like those 4 are like 4 pretty big ones.
Right.
Those are the heavy hitters for sure.
Oh, because then you had Pocahontas, Hunchback,
Hercules,
Yeah, Pocahontas,
Mulan, Tarzan.
Hercules, Mulan.
Which were those are all
Tarzan.
pretty good. Tarzan, that was pretty good.
Mm,
Not one of those 4 golden standards,
like
but
you
I mean,
said, Dinosaur, no.
Whoa,
Yeah.
what a dark time.
yeah, well, yeah, well, that's-
Atlantis.
yeah,
No.
I remember reviewing Atlantis, and it was just like, well, I guess Disney's lost it again.
Yeah.
Well,
People like Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo and
love-
Stitch is fun. Yeah.
My girlfriend hates that movie for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's really good.
It is a fun movie.
Oh, you know what movie? God, this movie is on here. Tell me what you guys think of this. I will take every ration of whatever you want to send my way. I love Treasure Planet. I think
All right, well, you're allowed to. It's fine.
I might be the only guy out there because that was one of the movies that
I don't even think I've seen that one.
It is a beautiful movie, but anyway.
It's very Jet Jurgens of you. I feel like that's why you like it. You're all about rocket ships and stuff. So yeah,
That's
that
right.
makes sense. That makes sense for you to like it. That's totally cool. I mean, I don't think it was that great, but who cares? Brother Bear was horrible. Let's admit that. That was
Yeah.
garbage.
Oh, yeah. I believe that guy actually,
And
you
it
know
was
what?
in-
I'm not going to get into that story.
And it was in the time of those kind of like those waning movies a little bit, where you have another studio come out with The Iron Giant, and then everybody's like, oh, wow. Animation
Right.
actually is really a relevant thing still. You can still tell amazing stories with it. And they just made Disney look bad for a little bit there.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, here's Home on the Range. That's,
Oh.
that's
Wait, hold on for a second.
Chicken Little,
I
Yeah,
think some of
pretty
those.
bad.
Wait, is Chicken Little was this? Oh wow, okay.
Ethan Robinson's wasn't that bad. I feel like Bolt wasn't that good. God, Bolt was.
I really
fine.
liked Princess and the Frog. I
Yeah.
thought like that was kind of on the right track, and then
That felt like a classic Disney movie. to
and
me.
then you get tangled, and then you're back on the way up.
We've got
Like-
John Lasseter come in.
Yeah, that's right.
When
So-
Lasseter enters,
Yeah,
it all improves.
Because then you got like after Tangled, you get like Winnie the Pooh, which was very cute, and what was after that? Wreck-It Ralph, and then
Yeah.
and then you're
Return
Frozen.
to
You're
Return
kind of
to-
on your way up after that.
Yeah, Big Hero 6 was good. Zootopia, in my opinion, was great. Oh man,
Zootopia was really good.
it had some dark undertones at the end of the day. Like I'm like, I cannot believe they put that for kids in there. But I really appreciate that because
Yeah.
as an adult, I was like, wow, I can watch this and not feel like like I'm a weirdo in this movie theater by myself.
Princess and the Frog had great music.
It did.
Great
It's
music.
it's really underappreciated.
It had a
Really
great
good
bad
New
guy,
Orleans
too.
music.
It did have a really good bad guy.
Really good bad guy. Probably one of the best bad guys since I don't know, maybe Little Mermaid. I feel like they're up there.
Yeah.
Well, and she wasn't really a princess. She was confused
Baker.
for a princess.
Yeah. Oh, wasn't she like she was the princess of like the carnival, or was that?
No,
like,
she was like the princess's best friend. She just happened to be in the right place at the right time, I guess.
I guess
But
she can't.
her whole
come
thing was like you have to work really hard to get far in life, and she had like a really great song about all the work she's doing to try to open a restaurant. Anyway, it was about working hard, and it wasn't about being a princess. I really like Princess and the Frog.
Right. So, which now I think about it, was Princess and the Frog the last cell animated movie that Disney did?
Yeah, well, Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh. I have not seen Winnie the Pooh. Now. Is that Winnie the Pooh? Let's dive into this. This is going to make scintillating podcasting. Is that Winnie the Pooh from 2011 like an update of any of the old ones, or is it like all new start to finish?
It's all new, but it's animated in the style of the classic one from the 70s.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's why I didn't see it. I thought it was just kind of
It's
warmed
supposed
over
to.
version
It's
of the one I already saw.
It's supposed to be very quiet and very sweet and very in the spirit of the stories. And
Cool. All right.
we need to buy that one.
So, do we need this? I want to get a little bit philosophical here. Now that we're looking at this and looking at all these other animated movies that are coming out from Sony and Blue Sky, I think it is, and Illumination, and do Disney movies, the Disney stamp of Disney feature animation, mean as much anymore as it used to? I mean, it used to be that was the gold standard, and there was nobody else that was even close. But is it that way anymore, or are a lot of people doing interesting, compelling, touching animation?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think people are picking up their game. Like Cubo and the Two Strings, that's not Disney, and that was amazing. So I think people have noticed out there that it doesn't have to be Disney to be good. We just kind of take it at face value that Disney is good. Just like Pixar movies are good, except for The Good Dinosaur. That was horrible.
Wow.
I think Pixar has that thing now where people are like, Pixar is like the stamp of this is going to be good. And I think Disney, it's just taken for granted.
Right.
That, it's going to be good. But I still think a Disney movie is kind of an event.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're special, and I look forward to seeing them. And I mean, sometimes they're not very good, but I still think that they're worth seeing.
Right.
You can pretty much bet that you're going to enjoy sitting through Disney feature animation at this stage in the game. Like they've got it down, and I think and if anything, they're actually even a little more consistent than what Pixar has been. Inside Out was good, but they can be a little hot and cold as of late. And whereas Disney, like what you're going in for, you're going to be entertained, and they don't rush it. They don't rush the Disney films.
Right. Let me ask you this then, because it's funny because we've talked about Disney. They were the gold standard, and then one of the smartest things that the recent Disney regime has done, over the last 10 years, they have bought up Marvel, they've bought up the Muppets, they've bought up Star Wars, and I guess about 10 years ago, their first big purchase in this new era was Pixar, because Pixar was kind of the new Disney of the computer animation era. John Lasseter takes over Disney feature animation, and for my money, I'm wondering if since he's done that, Pixar has kind of gone down, and we're almost looking for a little bit of a Pixar renaissance.
A Pixar-upper?
Yeah, Pixar-upper. That's right. Wow. So is that like an industry term? Is that like in the zeitgeist down there in the?
No, that's a David term.
Wow, that's pretty good. Well, the reason I ask is, all right, so
they are like, it's kind of, it's like they made like Finding Dory. It's like a sequel, and then we saw Moana today, and there's a preview for Cars 3.
Right.
Oh, don't even get me started on
front
Cars.
of it. And
exactly.
Pixar needs to do
new stories. They got Toy Story 4 coming out, for Christ's
right.
sake.
Yeah. They got The Incredibles 2.
Yeah, but I really want to watch that.
Maybe
I do too.
Joe.
What was that?
They've lost their mojo a little bit, and I think they had a lot of they had a lot of internal challenges and everything with The Good Dinosaur, and they've had a lot of stuff behind the scenes that results in the films not being so great. I mean, I still am excited about a new Incredibles.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're even like shifting around the release dates of these films. Like it was going to be Incredibles coming out in one year, and then they shifted it back. And so they're kind of all over the place right now, it seems.
So David, if you can, without getting fired, Talk to us a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes, because we have heard of a lot of several director changes with some of their movies. I can't remember the name of the movie, but one of them was straight up canceled. In 2010, they did, for my money, what was the last great Pixar movie, which is Toy Story 3. Then the next one was Cars 2, meh. Brave, meh.
Ooh.
Monsters University, very meh.
Not bad. No, that wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad, but it was just like, why do we need a prequel to Monsters Inc.? Okay, then Inside Out, which was flat out great. I'll take that back. Inside Out was return to form. Then The Good Dinosaur, which for my money is by far the worst Pixar movie ever made. And then Finding Dory, which is just okay. It was fine. You know, what is going on at Pixar, as far as you know, David?
Yeah, I don't have the full on inside scoop on all of it. I think it's it's a challenge when you have a lot of stuff being done by committee, and some studios and some projects have figured a way of surviving and still putting out a good product and not having the creative differences and being able to explore a little bit. And I feel like maybe Pixar, they don't have the free reign to be as creative and explore as much as they used to. I think maybe there's a little bit more pressure. Yeah. I think there's a little bit, they have their own standard that they're trying to live up to.
Well, it's funny is they made this big announcement earlier this year that they were going to cut down on the sequels. And then you look at their lineup and it's like Cars 3, Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We're not going to see the benefits of that decision for
and the
4
bummer
years.
Is that Pixar is the one where they do get to, and they're expected to push the envelope a little bit with storytelling. Like Juan was saying earlier about with anime, you can explore more adult themes. You can explore like little darker stuff. You can explore a lot of these things, and Pixar is good at tugging at your heartstrings as an adult. Like every movie's made for a 40-year-old male with a family, apparently. But you know, they're in a position where they can explore storytelling a little bit more so than Disney. Disney's a little bit more confined to that Disney label, and that's what I want to see. Like that's Inside Out did that. Inside Out kind of pushed it a little bit, and that's the good stuff. Or the opening to Up, which just kills everybody. That's the stuff that I want to see Pixar put out. I don't want to see a good dinosaur.
Right.
I want to see a bad dinosaur.
Yeah, like in a way, Zootopia is kind of Pixar in terms of the themes in that film, and that was a very good film.
Great.
Yeah.
I feel like I totally forgot to talk about this, but did you love the introduction and little short thing in front of Moana as much as I did? Because I thought that was just amazing.
I really liked it.
Okay, good. That was so good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Which we talked about earlier.
I liked it, and I'm sure. Talks amongst yourselves. I'm going to grab the name of that.
I liked it way more than. Did you
Moana?
guys see the?
I agree.
No. Did you see the Peanuts movie?
Yeah, I did see the Peanuts movie. Yeah,
okay. I love the Peanuts movie. I thought the Peanuts movie's adorable.
It is adorable.
In front of it was an animated short that was like for Ice Age.
Oh, which was horrible. Yeah,
and it was terrible.
Well, yeah,
like, even our son hated it. Our son was horrified by it. He hated it.
And your son has awful taste.
What kind of little kid are you guys raising? He's just like, no.
He's 5, and even a 5-year-old's like, no thanks.
Yeah, what's it? Disney's been doing that lately, where they put the little short animation in front of it. Like my very favorite one so far has to be it was like Paper Trail or something like that, where the guy would throw paper airplane. That was just.
You showed me that one.
Yeah. I love that. I love that short.
Yeah,
and I feel like this one, the one from Moana was just like, I don't know, that tugged at the heartstrings. I feel like, it did feel a little like Inside Out, you know. Just it was like the conscious and stuff, and what the heart wants and what the brain wants, stuff like that. But yeah, that was gorgeous, and that was that can be considered like a deeper theme than any of these other movies have. It's talking about whether you live your life and die essentially, or or be happy, and who cares if you're broke or whatever. But yeah, that was great, in my opinion.
That was Disney's Inner Workings was the name.
Inner Workings.
Is the name.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, I like that one too.
All right. Well, does anybody...
Well, I wanted to ask, Smith, we kind of talked about this on Old Movies, New Beer, but we should talk about it here too. What is your favorite Disney movie?
I need you to remind me what I said because it's blanking on me.
I don't remember what you said, so I'm going to ask David then. David, what is your favorite Disney movie?
Smith probably said Oliver and Company or the Apple Dumpling Gang, and then we had to tell him like, no, that was not a cartoon, Smith. That was not.
I did not say the Apple
Dumpling Gang.
Dumpling Gang.
Because Don Knotts.
You go to heck.
For my money, no. For me, it's a toss-up between always Pinocchio and Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty.
How do you feel about the live-action Beauty and the Beast coming out?
I am pretty excited about it, actually.
Cool. All right, I think it looks great.
And that's another thing. Just speaking of technology, and earlier we were talking about how like Disney created this new way of filmmaking, a new way of storytelling. You could not have told the Beauty and the Beast story in that way as they did in the cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was a Beauty and the Beast that Cocteau did in like the 30s or 40s, something like that. That was super weird and surreal. But the animated one, like now we're at a point in technology where we can actually tell a story similar to the 90s animation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And still sell it. And when you first hear that little
like how they did the
piano
Jungle
music
Book.
and like, it sounds
how
so
they
good.
redid the Jungle Book with computer animation.
Yeah, that's just crazy how far technology's come.
Yeah.
Where they're now making these animated things that were impossible to come up, and now it's real. I mean, God, it's scary. You know what? I don't like it. It's terrifying.
It's great. What are you talking about? It's golden era.
I don't know that new Beast guy when he came out on the screen. I was like, he looked ridiculously real in my opinion. I know he's not. I know Emma Watson's fine. He's not going to hurt Hermione or whatnot. But it's still scary to think that
It's fine.
It's I don't know.
It's good. Lumiere looks great.
I'm really hoping they work on the technology to make people look young again. Like Marvel's done a pretty good job with that, like the de-aging.
They did a pretty good job with Brad Pitt and Allied, and we can talk about that later, Smith.
Oh, is that what they did?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, I was gonna say.
Why would you? Okay. Why would you tease me like that?
I don't know.
I want to see a younger Brad Pitt.
So I'm gonna throw my hat into the ring for Aladdin and the Lion King. Even though I have a huge soft spot for Treasure Planet, I'm not gonna pretend like that's
the best.
My two are Beauty and the Beast and the Lion King.
Yeah, Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, that was the golden era. The
Lion King's the one I've seen the most, though, for sure.
Right. So to close this segment out.
Wait, Juan didn't say it was his favorite.
I said it earlier.
Hercules.
I was like Hercules because I grew up watching that. But that's right. I mean, I guess your guys' picks are all right too. Whatever.
Whatever.
No, those are all really good. I mean, it's kind of hard. I was actually looking through the list, and I was looking for a movie that I thought was Disney, and it turns out it's not. Have you guys ever seen A Troll in Central Park?
I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
That was something I used to watch a lot when I was younger, and I always, for some reason, thought it was Disney, and I guess it's not. It looks like it's Warner Brothers. So, yeah, I guess I can't talk to you about that little gem, but, maybe we'll talk about Warner Brothers some other day.
Yeah, we should.
And it'll be a half an hour talking about the Iron Giant.
Superman.
Oh, God.
Who does the voice for that?
I have
Vin
never
Diesel.
seen the Iron
It is Vin Diesel. He does the two greatest voices in the world. He does the Iron Giant and Groot.
That's right.
That guy needs to be in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He needs to retire. He's done it. He's done it all.
What were you saying, Sonia?
I've actually never seen the Iron Giant.
What?
I know.
Blasphemy.
Oh, David, what the hell? I'm not gonna put this on her. I'm gonna put this on you.
Yeah.
How long have you been married?
I'm an adult who can make my own decisions. You put it on me.
Yeah, no. David knows. See, here's the thing: is you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you haven't seen. David's seen it. David knows what you're missing, and he still hasn't fixed this.
I'm thinking David wants it all to himself, so he's not sharing with Sonia. Shame on you, David.
My giant. My commentary on the Cold War cartoon.
Oh God, I love that movie so much. Anyway, all right. So to look ahead into the future.
Can we have Juan back and we can all talk about Warner Brothers sometime? That would be fun.
Oh, definitely. No, we're gonna have Juan back, despite his attitude.
I hate that guy. He's the worst. But if David's there, I'm good to go.
Can we talk about anime sometime?
I love anime. Absolutely.
Yes, we can.
That's the one thing I do. I watch anime every week, all week.
We've been working our way through all the studio.
Ghibli?
Yeah.
Which is your favorite so far, if I can ask?
I really like Kiki's Delivery Service a lot.
You would like Kiki's Delivery Service?
I totally would. And I liked Spirited Away a lot, too.
Spirited Away is just gorgeous. It's, oh, man, that, for my money, it's up.
We're not done yet. Like, we're still working our way through.
For my money, it's Howl's Moving Castle is probably my favorite, but Spirited Away is way up there.
For me, it's Spirited Away, and I have a soft spot for Totoro.
Oh, Totoro's good. Hey, Chris, talk about that one time you watched Princess Mononoke like 1,000 years ago.
Well, here's the thing: is I actually covered Princess Mononoke in '98 or '99 when it came out, and I cannot remember a damn thing.
I know, Chris. That's why I brought it up, because when I talk to you about anime, that's the same thing you say every time.
That's right. Sorry. I covered it. I saw it. I got to interview somebody. I think, oh, God, who was it? Maybe it wasn't John Lasseter. Couldn't have been John Lasseter. I got to interview somebody in Disney animation that they were kind of like acting as the shepherd of
that probably
Princess
was John Lasseter. That was his thing.
No, it was his thing, and I would remember talking to John Lasseter. I definitely remember talking to Andrew Stanton. But Pete Docter. But
I was thinking maybe it was Nicolas Cage, because I'm pretty sure he voices one of the guys in Princess Mononoke, the English version. But I think
hold on,
Nicolas
actually,
Cage.
All right, you might be able to help solve the mystery then. Who were some of the other voice actors in there? Gillian Anderson. Did she?
Billy Bob Thornton, Gillian Anderson,
Billy Bob Thornton. You're right. You know what? I don't just off the top of my head, but there's this thing called the internet, Chris.
I know that. I don't feel like working. I'm trying to get to the list of upcoming Disney movies here that I keep getting interrupted about, and I thought that I could rely on you guys. But whatever.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. Good old Batman.
I did not talk to Christian Bale. I would have remembered that. So, all right. I think it might have been Gillian Anderson or Gillian Anderson, whatever her name is. Anyway.
What's her face?
So what we got coming up from Disney feature animation and Pixar is Cars 3.
Boo.
Cuckoo or Coco.
Coco. It's I'm looking forward to that, Chris. It's actually about like Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
And it's bumming me out because I was hoping to kind of come out in the scene and be that young and wild animator that talks about his culture. But I guess a white guy beat me to it, Chris.
That's right.
I guess a guy beat me to it.
No.
White people.
See? Yep. Sonia. Everybody
Aren't
drink.
the best.
Sonia mentioned white people, so drink up. I haven't actually mentioned the Emmys yet. So, I just did it right there. So drink up.
Everybody drink.
That's right. All right. Then we got Wreck-It Ralph 2 coming up in March of 2018. The Incredibles 2, June 2018. Gigantic from Disney Animation Studios, which is a retelling of Jack and the Beanstalk from the Giants' point of view, I think. Then a bunch of mystery.
Oh, good. A giant origin story.
That's right. Then we got a bunch of unnamed, untitled films from Pixar and Disney. June 2019 is Toy Story 4. Frozen is to be and Lin-Manuel Miranda and Byron Howard are developing a Disney animated movie, which is also TBD.
Did you say Frozen?
Frozen 2, yeah.
Why? I don't want it.
Oh, you know why. You know why. You're a smart boy.
Let it go.
You know exactly why.
Yeah, you're right.
That's why.
That's why.
Because it made $1 bazillion.
Didn't Moana make a bunch of money this week? Aren't they number one in the box office?
Yes.
It did.
Would you rather have Moana 2 or Frozen 2? You're right. Let's just have Treasure Planet 2.
That's right.
There you go.
Okay, so Juan, where can people find you and find your podcast?
Cool. So you can check out the Instant Ramen podcast. I always say that so fast.
You do.
Check out the Instant Ramen podcast on iTunes or Podbean. We have a Facebook, Twitter, Gmail, and the Twitter's just Instant Ramen Pod because podcast didn't fit. Also, if you watch the podcast, you'd get that joke because I say that every week. But yeah, check it out. Send us an email. We talk about anime like Chris was saying. I'm a huge fan of it. My friend Trip, actually, it's crazy. We have we came into anime in different ways. kind of like unbeknownst to us. And he likes stuff that I don't like, and I like stuff he doesn't like. Like he likes the Tea Party stuff, you know, like the little girls getting together and like being, you know, cutesy and stuff. And I'm just like, hey, let's see something die and blow up, or you know. So
You're into squid monsters, right?
No, come on, Chris. Why you gotta do me like that?
What? I'm just asking.
I did you a favor, came onto your podcast, and you over here berating me, man. That ain't cool. Anyways, check out the Instant Ramen podcast. Yeah, if you like anime and stuff, like Chris said, we just use a language that's maybe not too appropriate for like young adults. I mean, no, like young people. But if you're a young adult or you know a rebel, do it. Come check us out.
It's your one-stop shop for Legend of the Overfiend.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'd like to say though, we actually did a new reformat where we do an episode every week. I don't know. This Dorking Out isn't weekly, is it? It's like
it is.
Yes.
Is it? Okay, good.
Sometimes twice a week.
Yeah. So the way we're doing it now is we're still doing it weekly, but we're doing a shorter episode in between every week. So it's like a long episode, a mini episode. That way we have 2 weeks to actually watch all the anime for the upcoming week, whatever. Because I've binge watched a lot of anime. And I have a giant list of all the stuff I've watched since I started this project. I think we're like almost on episode 30, 40, something like that. So we've been there for a while.
Wow, you've been around longer than we have.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have, Chris. And I got a theme song. So I'm up and coming.
All right. David, other than Sonia's house, where can people find you?
Where can you find me? Under a rock, probably.
No, you can
find... And you're at your back door right now.
You can find him at Gashly Crumb.
That's my Twitter.
That's Twitter.
Gashly Crumb.
And you can find him on Old Movies, New Beer.
Oh, that's true.
That's right, yeah. Old Movies, New Beer.
What's that about, actually? I'm curious.
I wonder. It's where we watch new movies and drink old beer.
It's like skunked beer.
Skunked beer. If it's past the date, we'll drink it. Past the date.
Chris, would you like to start an anime called that? Well, we'll just, oh man, this beer's so gross. Why do we keep doing this? I don't know. Check out this new movie.
It would probably kill us, but yeah, we could do it.
We left this beer out overnight. We're going to drink it now.
We could
and you just tell me what's going on while I drink skunked beer. How's that sound?
That sounds great. Let's do it.
I would listen to that.
All right. Thanks, guys. We will see you soon. Juan, David, thanks for being on the show. Now get out.
Oh, thanks for having us. Bye. Come on, David. We know we're going to get out of here. We know we're not welcome.
This is the story of Robin Hood. You can read along with me in your book. You will know it is time to turn the page when you hear the chimes ring like this. Let's begin now.
Topic 3. We're going to review Allied, which was one of the movies that Smith picked on his fall movie preview list, if you remember correctly.
That's right.
This is the World War II spy love story drama starring Brad Pitt and Marion Cotillard. Nope. Smith?
I'm not going to help you.
You're awful.
You're going to do this on your own.
They are undercover agents who are pretending to be a married couple in Casablanca in World War II, and they fall in love because they're movie stars. And after they complete their mission, they move to London and get married, for real this time, and have a baby. The end. Just kidding. The British government believes that she's not who she says she is. She's a German spy. And if she is a spy, then Brad Pitt will have to kill her or be sentenced to death because, yeah, that's what happens. But is she a German spy? Brad Pitt tries to uncover the truth of whether the love of his life is a Nazi before the British government does. We're going to talk about Allied for a little while spoiler-free, and then we're going to get into spoilers, but we'll warn you first. So, Smith, what did you think of Allied?
I liked it. I didn't love it. Pretty much everything that you said was there. I kind of wish that they had not given away so much in the preview.
Yeah.
Because what your intro was accurate. You didn't say anything that wasn't in the preview.
No, I tried to be very careful about that. I don't like to spoil movies for people.
Exactly. But from the preview, you can see, like when you're starting to watch the movie, and maybe this is a little bit of a review of the preview rather than the actual movie. From the preview, you can see, as you're watching the movie, you're like 10 minutes into the movie and you realize, oh, all the important stuff is obviously not going to happen in this chunk. So it's kind of like they're getting to know each other, they're doing things or whatever. But it's almost like the movie kicks in. The movie you expect to see is all the second half of this movie.
Yeah, you spend the whole movie waiting for the movie to catch up to
The preview.
where you already are.
Exactly.
Because you saw the preview.
That is a fantastic way to put this. All of that having been said, though, I thought this was really enjoyable. I thought it was really good. I was telling my boys, one of the reasons I wanted to see this is simply because when Robert Zemeckis makes a movie like Back to the Future or Who Framed Roger Rabbit or Forrest Gump, when a director has it within them to work at that level of craftsmanship and storytelling, you better pay attention to them. They might make 3 crappy movies in a row, but they always have the possibility within them of kicking out with something great. I would not say that this is great.
Yeah, this isn't great.
But I would say that it's good. It's, it is interesting. It's funny. We talked a little bit about Hacksaw Ridge a couple of weeks ago and how that felt like a very 1940s. It was almost like a 1940s script made with modern movie-making technology and modern kind of the rating system.
Right.
Where it was a hard arc as it was showing the real drawbacks of war, but the skeleton of that movie was very old, very classically set up, and this could have been a Hitchcock movie. This could have been like just everything that was in it, the way it sets the characters up and the way they play off against each other and how the tension ratchets up and ratchets up. So it was really enjoyable, not world-changing, but also not awful or a major misstep. It was just like, oh, good. I liked it.
I really liked the first half of the movie better, even though I had seen the preview and you kind of already know what's going to happen in the second half. I still really like the first half of the movie better. The half set in Casablanca. I like that so let me go back a little bit. I like the idea of 2 spies being in love.
Right.
I think it's a really interesting story. The idea of kind of when it's your job to live a lie, how are you honest? How are you truly honest with the person that you're living with?
Right.
So I really like that. I really like the first half of the movie, like where they're explaining kind of what it's like to work undercover, like what they talk about, what they're worrying about, what they want for their futures. And like, I like how the movie just moves and it's like interesting and exciting. And it was about both of them.
Right.
And then the second half of the movie, like when they get married and move to London, the movie becomes kind of dull and gloomy.
Mm-hmm.
Not dull like I'm bored, but I mean dull looking.
Yes.
And gloomy. And then it really kind of becomes all about Brad Pitt's character. Like she's more of like, he's spending the whole second half of the movie trying to figure out if she's a spy.
Right.
So she's not really a character in the second half, more like she's like a puzzle or a mystery to be solved. And I really like her in the first half of the movie. I think she's so interesting. And then the second half, she's kind of not the same person.
Right.
It was very strange. But I did like the movie. I did enjoy the movie. And I think it looks great. Like and by the way, the clothes in the movie are really awesome. I want to wear all the clothes she wears.
Right.
And I like that it's like a period piece and it's like a grown-up love story. I feel like we don't get a lot of those anymore.
Yes.
I feel like this movie could have been made in the 90s.
Interesting. How do you say that?
I don't know. It kind of reminds me of like The English Patient, like that kind of.
Oh, right. Okay.
Is what I mean.
Yeah.
Not set in the 90s, but like.
Yeah.
That type of movie. That's all.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and then I think it might be better for us to move to the spoiler portion of this.
Okay.
So for the people who have not yet seen the movie, what would you give this out of 10?
It's like a 5 or a 6.
Oh, interesting. All right. I would give
Like,
it.
I feel like it's a totally middle movie, like a 5 or 6.
Okay. I would give it a 7. I like it. I am probably going to be developing some sort of nickname where it has the 7 in it because I seem to be giving pretty much every movie lately 7s. Between 6.5 and 7. Anyway, I don't care. This is a solid 7. It's really good. And now we are going to go to the spoiler portion of this podcast. So, I really like this movie. I did like the second half in the way that he was trying to figure out who his wife was. And I think essentially by the end, he did figure out who she was, which was a spy that was working against him, a spy that did love him. Is basically both things are true. You know,
Right.
like a lot of the movie, a lot of these spy movies where the spies are in love, it's, do they really love me or is this all part of the mission?
Right.
Well, this is, both things are true. She's been around him so much, she knows him enough. And you can see this happen with real spies, which is if your assignment is to be with somebody and infiltrate a country and get married to a civilian and go to their country and spy, you're going to be around the person you're quote unquote in love with a lot. And there's a pretty good chance you're going to develop real authentic feelings for
Right.
them, while at the same time, you're betraying them, betraying their country, betraying everything. And the way that it all kind of winds up, I think maybe structurally.
Well, she didn't go with him and marry him because that was her assignment. Like, they found her after she met him and married him and kind of blackmailed her into doing it.
See, that's the thing, is I don't know if she was
Or at
assigned
least
or not
that's the-
assigned.
Yeah.
I
I mean, that's the story she says.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is, and I think it might, and I agree with you, because the first part of the movie is it's kind of like they're both spies. So, and we're getting to know both of them. The second part of the movie is you almost have to pick one or the other. And I think actually now that we're talking about this, it would have been interesting to pick Marion Cotillard.
Right.
To have to figure out if her husband is the spy, because he, as you have to be suspicious of one of them and kind of not on the side of one of them, but kind of sympathizing or empathizing with one of them as they try to figure out which one's which. So almost by the structure of the story, one of the people in the second half of the story is going to be put at arm's length because we're having to wonder, are they a spy?
Right.
And if we show too much about them, we're going to basically spoil the suspense. But it is, I agree with you, from a storytelling standpoint, it's very strange to get so close to her, to know her so much, and then all of a sudden it's like she takes 3 steps back in the second half of the movie.
Right.
And we never quite get inside there anymore until the very end. And actually, now that I think about it, yeah, I think that is one of the things that lingers with me, which is, and I think I've said this before, as long as you have a good ending, you can forgive a lot in a movie that might not be firing on all cylinders, but if it ends in a very satisfying way, which for me, this movie kind of does. She is revealed as a spy, but she's revealed to love him, and she takes care of the situation at the end in such a way that gets him off the hook.
Right.
While it's actually, gosh, now that I think about it,
I had problems with the second half.
Well, actually,
oh, sorry, I'll let you finish.
Yeah,
your
let me just set this part out because I think I just had a little revelation here. Her insight at the end is kind of the insight that a loving wife would have, which is she sees the score. She sees that she's going to get captured. She also sees that her husband is not in his right mind and not thinking clearly. And if he's not careful, he's going to get killed too.
Right.
So she almost makes a decision for their marriage to end things in a way that gets him off the hook at a time where he's not thinking clearly.
Yeah. Well, and so their daughter's going to still have a parent.
Right. That too. Yeah.
I guess my big thing with the second half was if he's doing all this investigating to find out if she's a spy. Mm-hmm. If he was just going to try to escape with her, since we're in spoilers and I can say these things, if he was just going to try to escape with her or help her get away, why didn't he just do that from the get-go instead of just following orders and like waiting 2 days and then trying to make it all happen at the last second?
Yeah. Well, I think that's because
it's like the whole thing is like they give him like the message that he's supposed to leave out and she's supposed to find, and then she's going to send it to her people, and then it'll take 2 days for them to decode the message to find out if she's a spy.
I think
why not do it? Like, just don't leave the message out and tell him you did, or
yeah, actually that did occur to me. I mean, I think the reason he did it is because he was just rejecting it. He was just kind of in denial, and he didn't think that it was gonna. I don't think he thought it would get that far. So as things kept getting worse and worse and worse over the time that they were supposed to find out. But I'll tell you, that was exactly my first thought when they told him what the plan was.
Yeah.
The plan was he's supposed to get a phone call, write down a message, then it's called a blue dye operation, which I need to remember that because when it comes to corporate politics or whatever, this is a very useful piece of information. So a blue dye thing is you give somebody some information, kind of like blue dye, and this is the way that kind of people who study water and rivers and all that kind of stuff, they pour a bunch of dye into a river, and then they kind of watch where the dye shows up, and they could figure out, oh, this little spring over here is connected to that one, and this and that. Anyway, so what they say to Brad Pitt is, we're going to call you up, you're going to write down some information, and if that information ends up getting transmitted from this location that we suspect is a spy location to the Germans, we're going to know that your wife is guilty. Well, what's to stop him from just saying I wrote it down. Here's the pad.
She didn't do it.
She didn't do it. She has no idea because she, but maybe that's the thing. Maybe he loved her and he truly in his bones didn't believe that she was guilty. So maybe that was his way of, well, she's not guilty anyway.
But I think he did.
Well,
I think he did. That's why he's like watching her like she like all crazy, and he's like reading the book and he's being all shifty and True. I really think he did. I do think it was. I just was like, it's a little flaw in the story for me.
Yeah. No, I think that is definitely I
still
a flaw.
like the movie.
Yeah.
It's just I think the movie is very middle ground, and I don't think like I'm going to be thinking about this movie a week from now.
All right. Well, we've thought about it enough so far, I guess. Allied, directed by Robert Zemeckis, starring Brad Pitt and Marion Cotillard. Go check it out. If you'd like, or if you like Sonia, maybe not. Whatever. It's up to you. They can't all be winners. This segment of the Dorking Out Show podcast is brought to you by
the letter I, because you can't spell iTunes without I. Have you reviewed us on iTunes yet? You should review us on iTunes. Unless you have something bad to say, then you should keep your goddamn mouth shut. You hear me?
That brings us to our favorite headlines, and rejoining us as a different kind of expert is Juan Uriarte. He is here now because we, Sonia and I and him, are going to talk about one of the big stories of the week, which is AMC's The Walking Dead in Season 7 is losing viewers like crazy It is down 25% from its season premiere. It's down to, I think, 11 million viewers, which is fantastic, except it's the lowest viewership of The Walking Dead since season 3. So I bailed out on The Walking Dead, and I have stated my reasons in several different places years ago. Sonia, you bailed out when?
Maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago.
Now, why did you bail out?
Because it was too depressing. And I didn't like watching it anymore. I was like, yeah, I just didn't like it anymore.
Cool. And Juan.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, you're allowed to not like things. It's fine.
Yeah.
And Juan, you were telling us before we went on mic that you bailed out in the second episode or after the first episode of this season. How come you're not watching Walking Dead?
Okay, well, I want to make that very clear. I haven't bailed out just yet.
All right.
I have DVR'd all the episodes. They're all there. I can watch them whenever. I'm a kid. I can binge watch things like no other person. But the problem is that after watching the first episode of this season, I realized, you know what? I don't like The Walking Dead anymore. It sucks because like the comic books are great. I don't know if you guys have read them, but those are amazing. And I think The Walking Dead at first really like caught me. When I watched Walking Dead, no one told me about it. I just happened to be watching AMC and it popped up, and it blew my mind. And I really liked it. And then I don't know, probably before Sonia said that she bailed out, I started realizing, The Walking Dead's not that good anymore. Like even season 2 wasn't that great. But if you wanted to stay socially relevant, because when you got to school the next day or whatever, people would say, hey, did you watch The Walking Dead? And if you said no, then you just kind of get chastised or ignored. So it was like, if I want to be a part of society, I had to watch The Walking Dead. And now I realize I'm 23 years old. The Walking Dead's not very good anymore. Maybe I don't have to watch it for people to think I'm cool, So that's where I'm at right now. That's my standing.
So what was the thing that you said, you know what, I'm not liking this anymore? Because correct me if I'm wrong, this season, the season finale of last year and the season opener of this year were surprisingly divisive.
Yeah.
Everybody on the internet heard that Walking Dead fans were not happy at all. They killed Glenn, one of the characters.
You can't just say that. You can't
can.
Oh, that's true. I guess you can't.
And Abraham. No one talks about poor Abraham.
Oh, well, no one likes Abraham, okay?
Who's Abraham?
Oh. Okay.
Well, look, Abraham died way before in the comic books in a different way. Like, that nurse chick that died? Oh, you probably haven't seen it anyways. Well, yeah. Abraham was supposed to die before the way he died. So he was longer than he was supposed to be. So him dying was like, cool, okay, good. They killed Abraham. And then they killed Glenn like they were supposed to. And everybody just like blew up.
Right.
So a lot of people are upset. They were saying it's too grotesque. Honestly, I think it becomes desensitized because, yeah, it was a little, gross. They smashed his head in with the, barbed wire bat or whatever. But, it's not like it wasn't like it was a rated R movie. It was bad. I don't think kids should watch it. I mean, if their parents are, they can decide to watch it with them. But okay, I guess what you're saying, like, what was the question? Why do I think?
Yeah, why did you pick season 7, episode 1 to bail?
You know what? I think that I was just kind of, bored, I guess. And I was really tired of getting played with by AMC. They have this formula where like the season premiere is supposed to be really crazy good. And then they have an all right second episode. And it's like 4 or 5 episodes of just garbage. And then it's a really good episode for like the mid-season break. That's something I really hate now. I've never heard of a mid-season break till The Walking Dead came out. Is that new? Because it's like, here's the mid-season break. They give you 6 episodes. And then you have to wait like 5 months. It's like, hey, guys, it's a season premiere of the second half of the last season you just watched.
Yeah.
And I just got tired of getting like, jerked around. Then that season premiere is kind of all right. And then you get, some boring episodes again. And then you get a crazy cliffhanger. And then it gets resolved within like the first minute of the next episode for the next season premiere. So it's like they're not bringing anything new to the table. And they finally brought Negan in, which is great because he's such a lovable, hated, character or whatever in the comic books. But I feel like it's a little too late,
Right.
And especially because we're on AMC, this is TV. I think people have realized that, you can't just copy and paste a comic book character into television and have it be all right, because Negan, even though he looks great and the guy who's being like acting as Negan is doing the best he can't be him because he's not allowed to say all the horrible profanities that he's supposed to say. Like that's his entire character. Like he just says the F word like it's no one's business, and he's great at it. He's like that's his job, and they can't do that on TV because they'd get flagged and people would get really upset. So he's using other words as opposed to saying like, I don't know. Do you guys say bad words on this podcast? I don't think
we do, but we bleep them out. So feel free.
Cool. All right, cool. So instead of saying like ass, he'll say butt or whatever. And instead of saying like, the F word, he'll say like, oh, forget this. It's just like, it's like pandering, I feel like. And I don't know, it kind of lessens who Negan is as a character. Really handsome guy. I'm not taking away from him. That guy's great. But I don't know. I feel like the show has run its course for me. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. I'll probably will watch this season of The Walking Dead just because I'm weak. And I probably won't like it. And, I just really hope they just end the season in this show because I'm tired of being forced to watch this show. And I'm doing this to myself. It's a
They
vicious
definitely
cycle.
won't end it because
They should, though.
11 million viewers is still really high.
Yeah, I know. Chris was saying, it's like, 11 million viewers or whatever. I'm just like, that's amazing. Like, in my head, for like a podcast, I would love 11 million viewers.
No, 11 million, it's the number one show on television. Not even on broadcast. It is number one. So
I can't help but wonder, are the ratings down? Do you think it's tied to the election?
Are just people just so bummed out?
Like maybe a zombie apocalypse doesn't sound that far-fetched anymore.
Now it's too real. Now The Walking Dead has gotten too real is what you're saying.
Yeah. And the show's just so negative and there's no humanity. It's depressing. And a lot of people are really depressed right now. I bet the ratings are super high for those holiday movies on like Lifetime and Hallmark Channel.
You're probably not wrong.
Yeah, man, that's a good. I don't know. I never brought those things together, but you know what? Let's just blame it. Yeah, let's blame it on that. This is Trump's America. That's a problem.
That's right. Well, it's funny, or not funny, but there is I believe ratings across television are down. The rating for everything on every station, on average, is down. Even sports, even the NFL.
Oh, now you mentioned that. Okay, well then, what are we doing here, Chris?
Well, what we're doing here is we're talking about the number one show on television that's supposed to be this huge behemoth, and is losing viewership.
Yeah, well,
and I'm wondering, and I'll admit the reason I put this into the
you're
rotation,
hoping that people are spending more time reading books. Is that what?
Well, no, not yet.
Right.
I'm
get Jack Juergens when it comes out, right?
That's right, baby. I appreciate the plug, but really, what I'm hoping for is everybody starting to agree with me. What I thought 4 seasons ago,
hold on,
which is this sucks. I'm out.
Why do you hate the show so much? Like it's not bad. The first season was great, right, Sonia?
Exactly.
I did like the first season. I liked the first couple of seasons. I was into the show. I was all in.
For me,
for a while.
Here's
and then
why.
It just got really scary. Yeah, what's up, Chris?
I talked about it before, but I'll talk about it again here real quick. When this show started, I had never cared about zombies or nothing. It was amazing. This was like Breaking Bad, Mad Men, Game of Thrones level. Wow. AMC is doing this really fantastic thing. It's great. The first season was spectacular. Then in season 2, AMC is started to do a lot. One of the things that I hate that networks do is they get a good show, they get a little momentum, and then they start messing with the creators that brought them that momentum. They fired Frank Darabont, who, he directed Shawshank Redemption. He wrote and directed the first episode and executive produced the first season of The Walking Dead. He's kind of a difficult guy to work with from what I understand, but they fired him, threw out all his plans for what he was going to do in season 2, which is why, and then cut the budget by a third, which is why, season 2 episodes are really not written to the same level as season 1, and 2, which is why they spent all that time on that stupid farm, because they essentially rented the farm for the season to cut costs, and it affected the storytelling. So that's why I don't like it. And the other thing is, this is going to get deep into it, is in the tank, in season 1 when Rick
Oh,
goes
man.
into the tank. That zombie in there was, I can't remember the name of the actor, but he's kind of a pretty well-known television movie actor. Or he had done kind of a lot of stuff. And their plan was, in the second season, to have like a flashback episode centered around that guy in the tank. Where they were going to explain how the outbreak started, and they were going to kind of... And what his plan was, every season to have an episode where they flash back or they do something else that's not connected to the main characters to kind of flush out the world of The Walking Dead.
Right.
Well, AMC didn't want to pay for that. So, so they threw all that stuff out. So you have this, relatively well-known actor, whose name, not well enough to know, well enough for me to remember his name.
Well known if you can't remember his name.
That's right. But, so, that's why they cast him as essentially a glorified extra, because they were going to do something with him later. So, one, they did that, and from a creative standpoint, that irritated me. And Frank Darabont is in the process of suing AMC for jillions of dollars. Two, I really did think it affected the storytelling. There was a sharpness and a specificity and a quality in season 1 that it was like an HBO show. It was like a Breaking Bad kind of show. It was just razor sharp. The second season was kind of flabby, kind of meandering, and I think what you talked about, Juan, which is some of the episodes are just kind of garbage or just kind of meh, know, and then it kind of felt more, and I think Sonia and I have talked about this before. It felt
Like a soap opera?
Well, it felt like, not necessarily, see, I kind of, in a sense, like the storytelling style of soap operas. What it did was it was like a network noted, a show that was noted to death by executives. It was flabby, it was watered down, but it was really gross. So it was kind of the worst of both worlds. It didn't have cable level, it didn't use its freedom on cable to really open up the storytelling. It became very predictable, and then it just got more and more gruesome, and the characters weren't as interesting.
It does do what Juan said though about how it ends the season with a really good episode. It goes out on like a high note.
Yeah.
So you've had a really good season premiere, and then, like you said, a bunch of garbage in the middle, and then it ends really strong. So then you're walking around for like 6 months, and you're like, The Walking Dead's awesome. I can't wait till it comes back.
Right.
Yeah.
And
They're
then it
playing
comes
with
back,
us.
and you're like, this one's so good. Yeah, I'm so glad it's back. And then you sit through all the garbage again.
Right.
It's like, it's just mastered, like
It's mastered that.
keeping the room on a high note, like George Costanza does on Seinfeld.
That's right, which I find even more irritating. It's like, if you can execute good storytelling and if you're choosing to have 7 or 5 good episodes in a season, but then you have 7 or 10 crappy episodes, that bugs me.
Well, how do you feel about like the like Game of Thrones? I guess because like I feel like Game of Thrones has recently started to do that too, where they'll have like a handful of good episodes and then just a bunch of filler stuff I'm just kind of sick of. So, but I mean, it's not to the point of The Walking Dead where I can, there's the filler episode, filler, and I can tell exactly. But for like Game of Thrones, I'm feeling like these last 2 seasons, they like really, I don't know, they're playing with me too, and I don't like being played with. I don't like it, Chris.
I hear you.
Chris, I think you would just want to be the first one to say this show sucked. That way, when it did suck, you could be like, I knew it sucked from the very beginning. I feel like you're that guy,
He's
Chris.
just a hipster.
You're very progressive.
I was hating The Walking Dead before everyone else.
That's right, it was. You know what? That's not a bad theory. However, it's not correct, but it's not bad. Sometimes I like to be a trendsetter. That's true. But no, I hear what you're saying about Game of Thrones. I think the HBO shows do something different. Usually where they're kind of slow burns, where they start a little slow, but they'll give you little bits of information. And then for me, it's almost like a Game of Thrones seasons are like roller coasters. They go up and up and up and up and up, and they spend all this time giving you little bits of information or moving the characters around. And then in the last 3 episodes, everything they've set up all comes into play, and all the switches are flipped. the roller coaster is rocketing down and going through loops and being super spectacular, but you have to have that kind of ground setting setup for a lot of the cool payoffs later. For me, that's the problem, is The Walking Dead was setup, no real payoff, or just kind of out of left field shocks or whatever, which is not the same thing as characters developing. Because, when Cersei, was hammered for like a season and a half, and then in one episode does her Michael Corleone at the end of The Godfathers, I'm settling all family business, and I'm wiping everyone out. That was like, holy crap.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That it's worth it to have that moment of, oh my gosh, high, to sit through 4 episodes or 5 episodes of setup, to have it all the drama concentrated into 2 hours or something. Or sometimes 1/2 hour of one episode.
But how dumb is Cersei's to, pull off this awesome, just clean house, essentially, just kill everybody. But not be smart enough to hang out with their son and prevent him from jumping out a window. Like, come on now. You didn't think that one through?
I don't know, but how many of us in life expect for someone that we love to just hop out a window?
Well, honestly,
she should have expected it.
Yeah, no, as soon as it blew up, I was like, oh my gosh, this little kid's gonna kill himself because his wife's dead. He was really in love with that chick. Yeah. He was being manipulated, and he kind of realized it. And he's like, "What's the point?" And he just jumped out the window. The cat, I think the cat's still alive, thankfully, but he's gone. And I just think that's some bad parenting. She's lost all her kids.
Yes, it is bad parenting.
She's just horrible.
It's horrible. Cersei, surprise, surprise. Somebody with Cersei's morals and world outlook. It's not that fantastic parenting.
It turns out she's not an awesome mom.
Yeah, bummer, right? So, I just think it's so dumb. I mean, and that's beside. We're talking about The Walking Dead, but anyway,
that's right.
That's such a bad job on her part. She's just like, okay, I killed everybody. Everything's looking good. Oh, where's my son? And then he's just plastered on the ground somewhere.
Well, that Oracle lady, the witch or whatever, already told her all of her kids were gonna die.
Exactly.
She should have had him by like a chain or something. That way she knows where they are at all times.
Yeah, one of those leashes, one of those backpack leashes that people put on their kids.
Or just duct tape him to the mountain. You know where he is. You can't miss that guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was but yeah, I get what you're saying, Chris. So maybe The Walking Dead does do a better job of setting up pieces. But what kind of bums me out also about The Walking Dead is that you watch the first, the recap episode, and it says, "Hey, remember that thing from like 1,000 seasons ago?" And they have like a little clip of it. Now it's kind of important. Yeah. And the problem is that there's so much little pieces being dropped. I can't even begin to remember all these pieces. And they do that kind of refresher at the beginning, where I'm almost like, wow, thanks for telling me. I didn't know that was important.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's apples and oranges. Walking Dead's crap, and Game of Thrones is still good for now. But I was always saying, back in the day that that Game of Thrones would be bad eventually. They just.
It's not going to be bad. Here's the thing. Let's play the prediction game.
For sure.
And I think the fact that we have ended up talking about Game of Thrones is a hallmark that what I said about The Walking Dead and what Sonia said about The Walking Dead is correct. It is forgettable and not vital to the national conversation.
Not anymore.
Of pop culture.
Yeah.
Anyway, I am predicting that Game of Thrones will be great all the way through, and it will end great. That's one of the hallmarks of George R.R. Martin having the whole story laid out. He's already told the producers, here's what happens. We've already seen some spoilery pictures online of the next season. That's right. This next season of Game of Thrones, I think, is going to be broken up season A and season B style, now that I think about it. Yeah.
And aren't those supposed to be the last two, apparently?
Yeah, they're season 7 and 8, I think. Oh, yes. That's the other thing I meant to say.
Game of Thrones, we've always been in good hands.
Yes.
We talked about this a lot, about the idea of you're in good hands. And I think it is because George R.R. Martin has the story laid out. And there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And Walking Dead, even though it has these graphic novels, we don't seem like we're in good hands.
Yeah, they realized, hey, this is a cash cow, and they decided to cash out. So they got rid of whoever was like really in front of it and like hoping for the best of it. But the guys that direct Game of Thrones, like really, really love the series. Like that's like they're bonkers about it. So
Right.
They went to what R.R. Martin, and they really told him that how much they wanted to bring it to the TV screen. I never read the books. My girlfriend has, and she complains about how they're not true to the books or anything. But I've kind of gotten to the point where, I don't think I need to read the books because, first of all, reading's not cool. And secondly, but go get
reading is for suckers.
Yeah, go get Jet Jurgens when it hits the shelves. Yeah, I just, you know what? I feel like the TV show, even though it diverts from the source material, still tells a really good story, as opposed to The Walking Dead, who goes away from the source material, and then they try to sprinkle it in to like satisfy the people who actually like the comic books. But it just kind of seems like they're just doing it as like a handout or as a favor to us, and it just kind of feels like a slap to the face.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's the other thing is, Sonia, we were talking about executive producers, and the executive producers of Game of Thrones went to HBO, they did their stuff, they were let alone, and they made, so far 6 or 7 great seasons of television. Walking Dead fired Frank Darabont, and I think 2 years later they fired the guy that replaced Frank Darabont, and then a year and a half after that they fired the guy that took the place of the guy that took the place of Frank Darabont. I mean, so they've been through, like, I think they're on their 4th executive producer for the show.
They need to fire the guy that keeps firing guys. That guy's doing a bad job.
That is exactly right. So, is there anything else that any of us want to say on Game of Thrones or
Walking Dead?
or The Walking Dead?
We should let Juan go. He needs to go watch The Walking Dead.
No, you know what? I'm going to wait for all the episodes to be out. There's going to be a mid-season break. There's no point. I'm going to have like 6 months to watch the 5 episodes that I didn't watch. Gosh, that makes me so mad.
Well, actually, shoot, let me ask you this. Now I think about it. Have you been watching Fear of the Walking Dead?
You know what? I did. I watched the first season of that, and I liked it because it was a fleshed out world. We saw the breakout. The characters are a little bit different. They're not. It's not Rick Grimes. You don't know what he's gonna do. It's a dad with like it. It's really modern dad. He's a dad that has his son from one marriage, and then he has like this stepson or whatever. And I don't know. I kind of really like Fear the Walking Dead a lot more than The Walking Dead now. I feel like does a better job of it. It reminds me a lot of, I don't know if you of course you've seen the movie. Was it Dawn of the Dead? The remake, the one when they're in the mall. That's my favorite zombie movie, hands down. So I feel like it kind of feels like that a lot.
Okay. That was Zack Snyder's first movie, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, Zack Snyder. Look at him now.
That's right.
Yeah, whatever happened to that guy?
Yeah, poor dude. Can't get a job in Hollywood.
He failed, like a lot of people in a lot of positions of people who are listening to this show. They know at their jobs, he failed up. That's what happened.
Yeah, he did.
The boss you hate will eventually end up running the company.
That's
the country. Actually, oh my God.
Oh, come on. How are we going to bring it back? Now I'm so depressed I can't watch The Walking Dead anymore.
Mission accomplished.
I hope to fail up. That sounds like a great deal. As long as they go up.
I wish I could figure out how to do it. But anyway, on that note, Juan, is there anything else you would like to say?
I don't know. Do you want me to plug my podcast? Is that what you're trying to do? Is that what you're trying to allude to?
No, yeah, you could do that.
Cool.
We had you plug it on the last part of the first segment, and I believe the second segment. But no, let's plug it again. I appreciate you coming on.
I got something else to plug. I'm writing a book currently. It's about a guy in space. When it hits the shelves, check it out. Jet Jurgens. He's been working on it for years. It's okay. I don't need to plug my podcast again.
All right, Sonia Mansfield. Is there anything else
Yes.
you would like to say?
No, I'll just say goodbye.
Bye.
The Dorking Out Show is on Twitter at Dorking Out Show, where you can find Chris at Jet Jurgens and Sonia at The Sonia Show. You can read about Sonia's random adventures at thesoniashow.com and track the slow and creeping progress of Chris's novel and his other hijinks at jetjurgens.com. You can find out more about The Dorking Out Show at dorkingoutshow.com. While you're over there, you can support us by giving us a review on iTunes. We have a handy-dandy iTunes link to whisk you right back to 2007, where you can leave your review and 5-star rating in iTunes. We'd do it for your podcast. Want to dork out even more? Well, you can sign up for our newsletter, where you'll get all the headlines we use as fuel for the show. That's it for this week. Thanks for listening.